In this demonstration, we're going to look at Office 365 and the different apps that are available. We will look at OneDrive as a method of storage online. We will look at some of the other apps available within Office 365 and how you can work online. So whenever I go to OneDrive, I want to spend a little time talking about file structure. So whatever course that you happen to be on, I would create a new folder for the name of your course. So if you're working in dentistry, that would be dentistry. If you're working in or studying in medicine, that would be medicine. So it's just the name of your program will go in at this top level. And click create. In that folder, essentially you want to create your file structure for each year of study. Now you may be in first year and you may not know what years 2 onwards contain, but that's okay. You can still create the initial year folder. So here I'm just going to create year 1 through to year 3. Now I'm stopping at year 3. Programs are all different lengths. Some degrees are 5 years, some degrees are 4 years, etc. Okay, so I've got my year 1, 2, 3, and let me just take out the spaces, and they should run in the sequence year 1, 2, 3. So whenever I go into year 1, this is where you can start to think about your Canvas modules. So if you're doing, say, a master's degree, you may only have 2 modules, one in each semester, and that's absolutely okay. So again, you would just create your folders for module 1, and that would be your module code. So if you were studying medicine, that would be an MED code. And if you were studying dentistry, that will be a DEN code. In some other disciplines, it might be MEU, SCM, BMS, etc., etc. Okay, so just create folders for each of your modules. Okay, so whenever I go into module 1, evidently it's blank currently. So you might want to think about the types of folders that you want to include within this module. So we will have assignments or assessments. There might well be practicals. There might well be tutorials and group work. There could well be case-based learning, etc., etc. So decide on what folders that you want to create. Okay, so I've created a number of items there. And again, if I go back up to year 1, I can click on module 2. It might have a slightly different format, so the folders might be slightly different in there. Again, think about the folders that you want to create in there. Okay, so it's just getting your file structure right. Again, whenever I click on year 2, that's going to be an empty shell at the minute. Again, you can populate that out with the modules that you will be doing when you get to year 2. If you're only in year 1 at the minute, your year 2 and year 3 will be sitting blank for 1 and 2 years. Don't worry about that at this point in time. Okay, so let me just go back to Microsoft Office. I might decide that I want to create a Word document because I might be doing a literature review. I might be just putting ideas on paper, and it might be for some other reason. So let me just say literature review. Okay, so this is just me getting some text on a page, etc. Just to show you a few things. Okay, so initially, whenever many of us come into Microsoft Word, we just start typing, and that's not the best plan. So whenever we have titles, we should really be looking at these styles. So we have a heading 1, We have other titles, so that might be heading 2, which would be a subtitle. And then we also have body text, okay, which is normal. So we have list, paragraph, etc., no spacing, just normal. And it's important to use these particular styles whenever you are using Microsoft Word, because it provides structure in the background, and we're always thinking about accessibility, and we're always thinking about people who may need to use screen readers. And whenever we put that structure into a document, it means the screen reader can notify the user of the section, the title, whether it's a title, a subtitle, paragraph, text, etc., and then read the relevant information. So it just makes using the screen reader and the document a lot quicker and easier in terms of navigation. So at the minute it says my document is saved, and I'm just going to close that tab. So whenever I go to OneDrive, my document is outside of the name of my program. We can also say it says document. It's not very descriptive. So whenever I go to the 3 dots, I can go to rename, and I can call that literature review and rename. We can click on the item, the little circle just to the left of literature review, and we can move this to name of program and a particular year, a particular module, and a particular folder, and move. So whenever we navigate to name of program, year 1, module 1, assignments, there is our literature review. So whenever I go back to OneDrive, I might decide that I want to do a presentation. Maybe I'm doing a bit of group work, etc. So I will choose blank presentation. I can add in a number of new slides. So we have our title slide. I'm just going to say hello and welcome. I'm going to add in a new body slide, and I might put in a new title there as well, which could be my learning objectives, my learning outcomes. Okay, so there's learning outcome. I can take another new slide. I'm just using shortcut control keys here, which is Control or Command M, just to add in a new slide. So then we can think about slide design and things like that as well. So I would say try to aim for a level of consistency. Again, use the boxes that PowerPoint has supplied to you. Just again, thinking about accessibility, where those screen readers are concerned for anybody that might need to use those. So again, we can see that it says saved up here at the top. I'm just going to close that down. And whenever I go back to OneDrive and refresh, that will appear. So it's the same problem. It doesn't have a particular name, and it needs to move to wherever it needs to go. So let me just click on it again and open it up. On any of your documents, you can click up here and you can rename your presentation. And that will carry through to OneDrive. So whenever I close this now and refresh, you can see it's now got a different title. Again, we can move it, or we can select it. And there's a move to up here as well. Now, just a note on move to and copy to. If we move it, we're physically lifting the file and putting it in a different place. If we are copying it to, we are taking a duplicate of the file and it will end up in 2 places. Okay, so do beware of move and copy. So whenever I click move to, it's going to be the same thing. So I'm going for name of program, year 1, module 1, and this time I'm going to put it into group work. Okay, so maybe you're doing a group presentation and move here. So again, whenever I navigate to there, we can see the PowerPoint has moved. Okay, now a little bit on sharing. Currently, this is a private document, and we can see that under the sharing column on the right hand side. If we go to the three dots, there is a share item, and you need to think about permissions. So the top one is grayed out, so that is not available. You can make it available to people in Queen's University with the link. You can give a link to people with existing access. Maybe somebody has shared something with you, or you can give a link to specific people. With that in mind as well, you can decide whether you want the people that you're sharing with to be able to edit this item or not. So we can uncheck allow editing, and if we only allow them to view, we can also block it from being downloaded, so it can only be viewed purely online. So think about your needs and what it is that you need to do and why. And whenever we click apply, we can put in the email address of the person that you need or want to share content with. That might be fellow students working on the same group assignment or presentation, or it might be your academic for assessment purposes. So I'm just going to cancel out of that. Coincidentally, you can also share a folder as well. Okay, so whenever I click on share in this instance, it's the same information, the same settings or options, and again you can allow editing. Okay, so do think about the permissions that you need to set, the level of permissions, and why you are setting those permissions. So whenever I go back into group work, I was asked recently, can this be downloaded to the desktop? Some people may prefer to work offline rather than online. Maybe they have limited internet time, etc. So if you go to the three dots, there is a download option, and that will pull a copy of this item down onto your desktop where you can work. Okay. If I create a new Word document on my desktop, I can save that to the cloud as well. Okay, so at the minute this is on my machine, I can save it to my machine, I can put it onto a pen drive, I can email it, whatever I want to do. So if I want to save this, i.e. to my OneDrive at Queen's, I can go to File and Save As, and you should see a OneDrive option up top. Now you need to be signed into OneDrive as well for this to show, and whenever I click on OneDrive, it should give me different options. So I have OneDrive Belfast, and then click Save. And whenever I go back to my OneDrive, you will see the document is there. Again, I can put that into the relevant folder of the program. So if you have been working offline a lot and you want to be able to put your content online, what you can do is find the name of your folder, and you might find that some of your documents relate to different folders within that year, and that's okay. So whenever I go to my folder, I can grab my Lit Review and drag it onto Assignments. I can get my two tutorials, just highlight them both, and drag those into Tutorials. And then Questions for Discussion, that might be group work, so I can drag that into group work. So whenever I click on Assignments, there's the Lit Review that I've just added. When I go to group work, there's my Questions for the Discussion. And whenever I go to Tutorials, there's the two tutorial documents that I've just added in. So OneDrive is basically file storage, and you can do a lot just working online actually within OneDrive, or you can use your desktop applications and be able to work offline completely, and then at some point upload your files to OneDrive just so that they're all in one place. Now, this is only a way of working. Okay, it's one method. Some people prefer to work purely online. Some people prefer to work completely offline. Some people like to mix it up and have the option of both. So one of the real advantages of using OneDrive is as long as you have an internet connection, you have access to your files. So there's no carrying about USBs, etc. and trying to remember which USB your work happens to be on.